They say you eat with your eyes first. What if a brand could make you feel the food before you even taste it? Well, when I took on the design project for Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine, I knew I wasn't just designing a logo. I was capturing a culture. I was bottling up the steam from a fresh pot of jollof rice, the redeeming sound of a pestle eating a mortar, and the warmth of a Nigerian mother's kitchen. I am Deborah, a brand identity designer at Dotive Studio, and today I'm taking you behind the scene to show you how I built a brand that's as bold as a Scotch bonnet but as smooth as a pounded yam. Let's get started. So for this project, the goal is to make it feel authentic yet modern, the kind of brand that tastes like home and looks like a global powerhouse.
Every great brand starts with a why. For Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine, the why was heritage. So I spent hours researching Nigerian aesthetics, culture, and tradition. I didn't want to fall into the green and white cliche, and the goal was to find a balance between traditional roots and a modern global palette. I started by asking, if this brand was a person, how would they speak? And the answer was that it's going to be bold, welcoming, and timeless. Now for the heavy lifting, which is creating the logo, I've actually drawn like different iterations if I found the perfect logo sketch that fits the way I want the brand to feel like. So what I'm doing right now is to work on the brand name, which is Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine. I know that for this logo, I want to have symbol. Just stay tuned and watch how I bring this logo to life. For the logo symbol, I wanted to incorporate a round shape, which is kind of like the plate. So I want the initial of the name A, which is from Adùnní, to be inside that plate, like the brand name in the plate. And you know that it's related to something like food. Bring that vibe of, okay, this is a restaurant and we are focused on dish. But at the same time, I didn't want it to be too generic. So I played with how the A was going to look to give it that more unique feel. I've actually sketched that out, and I'm going to import that into the software to bring it to life. So I try as much as possible to include some cursive elements. So we can clearly see that in addition to the initial on the plate, there's also the spoon and fork, which are typical utensils used when eating, which are added to form part of the brand logo. Also, I didn't just want the name under the symbol to be just like an ordinary A, so I took the customized letter A that is on the symbol and added it to the brand name to give it a unique look. So in balancing the cursive customized fonts, I try to look for other fonts for the body of the brand name to balance out the look. And this is me in the typical looking for a font dilemma. So in the bid to have a balanced look for the brand name, I try as much as possible to manipulate this particular font. I found if there was a way to have that aligned look, so it's not that obvious that it's like separate fonts, you know, to fit the vibe. For the rest of the brand name, I chose a Cormorant Gramont. It's a serif font that carries a sense of grace and legacy. When you see the logo, it needs to tell you two things immediately. This is authentic and this is high quality. If the branding feels flimsy, the customer assumes the food is too, and we don't do flimsy here. And to further ground the brand, I did a research on the brand name Adùnní, which is a Yoruba name. and I tried to look at what it means and the way the Yoruba alphabet is crafted. I wanted to incorporate some of the elements in the Yoruba alphabet into the logo to give it that traditional home vibe and not just words, but a brand name with meaning and is connected to home. So I decided to implement those marks on the letters, have it somehow incorporated into the brand logo itself. Now let's talk about the visual anchors. When developing the visual identity for Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine, I moved from the generic color schemes to create a palette that feels as seasoned and layered as the food itself. I didn't just pick the colors that looked good, I picked colors you can almost taste. So I settled on a palette that mirrors the art of a Nigerian kitchen. So I use vibrant red, this is the soul of the palette, and this primary color, the primary red, is a tribute to the bold, unapologetic spice that defines Nigerian cooking. It represents the fresh, fiery tatashe, bell pepper, and atarodo scotch bonnet that form the base of a perfect jollof stew. In branding, this color triggers the appetite to balance the heat. I add the deep green. This rich dark green represents the incredible variety of leafy greens used in traditional soups like eforiro, ewedu, hafang, and all that. It adds a level of organic sophistication and longevity to the brand, reminding the customer that every dish is rooted in fresh, natural ingredients straight from the earth. I also added mustard gold color, which is inspired by the rich golden hue of perfectly fried dodo plantain, the rich nutty depth of toasted egusi seeds, and the warm glow of Nigerian hospitality. This gold adds a premium warmth to the palette, suggesting a divining experience that is comforting, sun-drenched, and high quality. And lastly, in the color palette, there is a deep brownish red, which is a direct nod to the clay pots used in traditional slow cooking. It also mirrors the deep color of palm oil, a foundational ingredient in many heritage recipes, stable, authentic, and connected to the ancestors' recipe. Brand identity, I'm creating a visual appetite before the first plate even hits the table. The logo is the face, but the brand pattern is the outfit. I took the A monogram enclosed in that circular plate and clear icon and transformed it into a repeating pattern. It's a subtle nod to a traditional Nigerian textile print like Adire, but with a clean modern geometric feel. By creating this pattern, I've given Adùnní a way to branch their napkins, their takeaway bags, and even their wallpaper. Next is the brand guide, which is the most underrated part of the process. A lot of designers stop at the logo, but a brand without a guide is like a soup without salt. It has no structure. For this project, I condensed the entire identity into this one pager, which is super necessary because the business owner needs to be able to hand this to a printer, a web designer, or a social media manager and say, "This is us." It's the constitution of Adùnní. It ensures that whether you see a flyer in London or a post in Lagos, it feels like the same home. Apply this pattern across from the spice pouches to the takeaway containers. Why? Because when a customer receives their order, the experience starts with the packaging. It's that extra layer of intentionality that moves the business from a local kitchen to a premium international brand. I also mapped out the photography style, which is warm, lifestyle-driven shots that shows people enjoying the food in a modern setting. So it's all about creating an atmosphere. I always provide my clients with a guide tailored to their needs. For a growing business like Adùnní, this one-page cheat sheet is the secret to staying consistent across everything from menus to social media.
Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine was a journey through culture and craft. It's a reminder that branding is storytelling. It's about taking a beautiful tradition and giving it a voice that the whole world can understand. As designers, we are not just moving pictures, we are building the face of a business, and that's Adùnní Nigerian Cuisine, a brand that tastes as good as it looks. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which part of the brand guide was your favorite. And if you're a business owner ready to tell your story through designs, my links are in the description. Let's work together. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.